Hello everyone. My name is Christou. I work for MindLink. It's a small software company that specializes in chat-enabled collaboration. And I'm here today to talk to you a bit about how remote teams can stay connected. I would like to say special thanks to CEL for inviting me to speak here today. It's a great honor, so thank you for that. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to ask a couple of questions so that I get you in the right mindset for what is about to come. So first of all, I would like for you to keep your hands up if on a day-to-day basis you work with other people, like you work with other people in your workplace. Right. And keep your hand up if any of those people are not always in the same space as you. Good, so almost everybody's hands are up. That's good. That means that remote collaboration exists, it's here, and it's growing. Okay? But what is remote collaboration exactly? In one sentence, I would say that remote collaboration is people or groups of people in remote places coming and working together and cooperating. I'm also part of this system because my company has an office in London and we have an office in Cyprus, and we have to come and work together every single day. And it can be a small thing like exchanging a simple opinion on something small, or it can be something way bigger, like coming together to work on projects that could take months at a time and that could involve several teams. And I would also like for you to keep in mind the speed and pace that business is conducted today. And this is mainly down to the fact that we are presented with vast amounts of information, opportunities, and challenges every day. And for that reason, organizations and businesses need to be able to adapt and react as quickly as possible. One of the bottlenecks in all of this is making sure that communication and collaboration is done as effectively and as simple as possible. And today I'm going to talk to you a bit about how chat tools will help you achieve that. But first, let's take a step back and see what the story is so far. So up until very recently, the main means of communication has been email. And that's great. It will almost always get the job done, eventually. But it's not uncommon for email to get clunky and fiddly to work with. So you might find yourself in a situation where you're searching through vast amounts of email, trying to recover that specific piece of information you're looking for, or you're trying to follow an email conversation and try to formulate a reply, try to reach the right people, and so on. So following email conversations is not natural to humans. It doesn't come natural to us. And for that reason, something needs to change, basically. And in addition, email does not cater for all of the communication and collaboration needs an organization has. So it's almost always the case that an organization will have other systems in place, like issue tracking systems for tracking bugs and features if you're a software company, document management platforms like SharePoint for storing your knowledge and documents in a central place, and even things like customer relationship management systems for tracking what's happening with your clients, at what levels your sales are, and so on. The list is basically endless. So it is clear that a new need has emerged in this area. And I'm talking about the area of collaboration and communication, right? So that is the need to incorporate, let's say, real-time communication and collaboration into our everyday working lives. So we need a solution. We need a solution that will bring all the aspects of remote teams working together in a single unified space. And this solution will need to address many things, basically. It will need to allow for people to create conversations, either individual conversations or group conversations. And those group conversations can be either for teams, projects, clients, processes that are going on in the company. And you should also allow for, let's say, other systems to be integrated into that chat tool. So those systems may include like what we mentioned before, like you want to be able to track issues through your chat tool. You want to incorporate your alert systems into these tools. And you also need to be able to track 24/7 processes. And this is just scratching the surface. Of course, many other things that these chat tools need to incorporate. Now, out there is a plethora of solutions. Many companies have realized that there is a gap in the market, and they have brought forward solutions in an effort to try and fill in that gap. I trust many of you will recognize at least some of the names shown on this slide. And some of these are fairly new to the game, like Slack and Microsoft Teams. And some of them have been around for quite some time. And by that, I mean more than a couple of years. And all of these solutions are addressing pretty much the same problem in very similar ways. And they're gaining traction. And the reason they're gaining traction, the reason that their usage has skyrocketed in the last couple of years, is because companies and organizations are slowly realizing the true potential and how useful these things can be for them. But what I'm going to focus on from here on is how these tools can be leveraged when it comes to bringing remote teams together. So I'm going to focus on 4 main points, which you can see on the slide. I don't know if everybody can read that. It's real-time experience, structured knowledge, being more in control of what you do, of the information you receive, and integration with other systems. So first, and what I consider to be the most important thing of them all, is strengthening the real-time experience. When I say real-time experience, I mean that when you're having a conversation, it should feel as if you're having it in the same room with the other participants. All right, and that's very important. That's very important because when you can have a conversation that way, you can easily go in a conversation, understand what's going on, formulate your reply, and get out as soon as possible. And this should be the case whether the reply is a quick yes or no answer or a multi-hour conversation on something very complex with many, many different participants. And this is even more important when it comes to remote teams, because they're not always going to be in the same place or time zone. It might be the case that someone in the conversation will be replying from their mobile phone or from their device at home. Also, another thing to notice is that when you have your conversation structured this way, content will always appear in the correct context. So if you're engaging in a conversation about a particular project, you can rest assured that all the relevant information for that project would be in that conversation. I will talk more about this in the next slide. And since we're talking about remote teams staying connected, it's also important when you can view the presence of the other participants. That is, if they're online, they're busy, if they're away, if they're out of the office, and so on. This enables you to basically tailor your reply and send it to the correct people at the correct time. And furthermore, having feedback on the content you send is also very critical because it allows you to verify that your message has been sent, received, and read by the stakeholders you're interested in. And that's very important, especially if your message is of a sensitive and urgent manner. Cool. Now, when you have teams working on different ends of the world, it's very important that all knowledge and all content is well structured, well maintained, and easily searchable and easy to query. Of course, there are tools out there that can do this for you. So you've got things like SharePoint and other knowledge portals that cater for these needs, but none of these tools integrate with modern chat tools. A proper and well-implemented chat tool will tackle this challenge by bringing the content and the relevant conversations all in the same space. And where I work, we have found out that this has immensely helped our remote teams keep in sync over content and conversations. And this when you have your content structured this way, you're also exposed to an easy way, let's say, to search for content, to query for content, and retrieve it. So you can search by who sent the content, the time it was sent, which group it was sent, which project the specific document you're looking for is concerned about, and so on. And another point I would like to say here, this doesn't have much to do with remote teams, but from my experience is a very important one, so I'm going to say it. When you have new people joining your company, if you have your knowledge and communication structure in the same place, it immensely helps them to get up to speed with projects, clients, the company, then the processes that are going on in the company very quickly and very efficiently without having to subscribe to 15 different portals or having to annoy 10 different people at the same time. Now, control of alerts, that is customizing how and what information reaches you. So if a company has implemented a chat tool like Slack or Microsoft Teams or Skype for Business or our product in the best and most efficient way possible, it will sometimes be the case that for some people in the company, they're going to have a lot of groups and conversations, either individuals or group conversations going on at the same time. We've had clients that they complain to us that they have hundreds of conversations at the same time, and sometimes it gets cluttered for them. So this, of course, you cannot be receiving notifications about all these groups and all these conversations all the time. Yeah, it would be difficult to manage, it would be difficult to follow, you get disgruntled, it doesn't work. And this is even more important when you have remote teams working together. Because, for example, I leave work around 6 p.m. Cyprus time, and that's around 4 p.m. UK time. And for some reason, that particular time is the time that my colleagues in London decide is the best time to start talking about things and exchanging opinions and sharing knowledge and whatnot. Now, I don't want to read all of those messages at 7 p.m. when I'm home, and at least most of those messages, until the next morning. And this is where controlling your alerts comes in. So the companies that implemented these solutions have realized this gap. And for that reason, they have made controlling your alerts highly customizable. So for example, I could have alerts based on the level of urgency. So let's say I'm working on a project, and then I have different stakeholders around that project. So we might have the sales team, marketing team, support team, other engineering teams involved in that project. Now, obviously I don't want to be receiving alerts from all of those people about the project all the time, so I can set them so that I only receive alerts if the message is of a certain level of urgency and above. And that way I make sure that if I receive a notification, it's for something that I definitely want to read about. And digging even deeper, you can set notifications based on who sent the message, if you were mentioned in the message, the group it was sent to, the teams the message concerns, even the time and the day that it was sent. So for example, when I go on holidays, or when it's a public holiday in Cyprus, and in the UK it's not, I turn off all of my notifications except when the message is of high importance. I'm mentioning the message, and the person who sent the message is one of the members of the board of directors. Now, that's the only kind of message I want to read when I'm on holidays. And last, but not least, I'm going to say a few words about integrations, or bots, as I like to call them. Now, integrations or bots do not directly impact how remote teams work together, but it indirectly improves their performance a lot. And that's why I'm going to talk about it, a bit about it. So this goes back to what I said before, that a proper chat tool will bring together all of the aspects of remote teams working together and an organization in general in one single space. And this may include external integrations, external systems, sorry, like social media, let's say. So you could have a Twitter bot posting feeds and updates from news agencies in a specific group regarding a specific client you're concerned about. And these systems could include internal systems like email and knowledge portals. So a support team could have an email integration in a specific group, and that integration will alert the support team of if something bad happens with one of the systems of the company. And it's not difficult to imagine that the possibilities here are practically endless. So a company that implements a chat tool, they cannot, of course, cater for all the needs of all their clients. Yeah? They cannot predict what their clients will want. So a well-implemented and mature chat tool will get shipped with its own API. What an API is in this context is basically a simple-to-use interface. We try to make it so simple that almost anyone can use it. And you can use that interface to write processes against our chat system. And we have found out that our clients have been using our APIs in ways that we couldn't even imagine before we wrote our API. And we had clients implementing voting systems in their own groups, implementing their own Jira connectors, of course, email connectors, message forwarding bots. Yeah. We even had someone implementing like a bot that translates messages that come in the chat room into the local language of the team that was receiving the message. So yeah, you can imagine that this has huge potential, in my opinion. So I think that's all I had to say. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that I have convinced you even just a little bit how these tools can be of great help to your organization, even if it's a 2-man startup or a 10,000 people strong organization. Did I finish too early? Yeah.
Thank you. So one question I have. So you talked about a lot about tools,
Mm-hmm.
and for instance, a company that is like office oriented. Let's say they have an office in London, maybe another office in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Right. And now they want to start going more, on a remote first basis, so full remote. Do you think it's like a matter of tools, or it's a matter of culture, or what's the balance there?
Okay, so it's not one or the other. I mean, these chat tools, of course, will only get you so far. Of course, as you mentioned, you need the culture. So you need the people involved in the organization to already be in that mindset that, I'm going to be using these chat tools to work with other people. I have to accept that I'm not going to be in the same space with them. And once you are in that mindset, then I truly believe that using chat tools like Slack or our product or Microsoft Teams, then that will be of great help to your company. Like, you can ditch most of your email, you can ditch having to log into most of your internal systems, and everything is in that space. And yeah, going remote, like being able to grab your laptop and go and then log in, and then you have everything in your fingertips again. Yeah, But as you said, yeah, it's also a matter of culture. So you need to be in that mindset before you go about using these tools.
How can you make sure within the company? How can you make sure within the company? How can you make sure that people working remotely in your company are held responsible for achieving goals of developing whatever you guys are doing in the company? How do you keep track of the work performed, and how does everyone report back? How basically do you check that people are not slacking off or whatever?
Yeah, you mean how you track if someone is actually, because you were implying that if someone is working alone in their home.
Yeah, it's basically a thing of performance management. How do you make sure that people are actually working in the simplest way possible?
Okay, so basically asking how do you manage the performance of someone who's in their basement at home and they're working remotely for you. So these are tools, right? And you have to use them in the right way. And if you use them in the right way, you can achieve that. For example, the way we do it is that we follow the Agile Scrum process. And every day we have stand-ups. Like every day we have a video call. We all go on the video call. We all talk to each other. We say what we've done in the previous day. We say we're going to do in the next day. And that way you measure like what is everyone doing, how they're doing it, if they have issues, and yeah, of course, you can easily identify if someone is slacking off. Yeah, it's not easy for someone to slack off even if they're working alone at home. Once you have your processes in place, the processes that you use to track work and monitor work basically. I think it's independent kind of from this, but yeah, it's more of a question, why would someone work remotely instead of how would people work remotely, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, but yeah, this is how we do it in our company, and you can easily track their work, and because we're a software company, we review each other's code, and when it comes to marketing, we also review their marketing documents and so on with sales and whatnot. We can see their progress in the relevant groups. So we have a group for the sales team, we have a group for the marketing team, and in there you can pinpoint and identify the work done by each one of those people. You cannot hide, basically. Right?
Thanks. Very good question. Actually, you told that it's very important to keep the real-time experience, like when we are using whatever, let's say it's Skype. But any tips on how to stay focused? Any time limits that you would suggest, for example, not to have a conversation longer than a certain period of time, and how to stay, really connected? Because we do have sometimes meetings and we discuss things, and at one point you really feel like the person is lost over there, and you have to repeat it all over again. And especially it's important when the conversation is among 3, 4, 5 people, so maybe any tips for that?
So again, this comes down to what sort of culture, I would say, you have within your company. So we don't encourage long meetings. Yeah, these tools are not there to encourage people to be on these tools all the time, chit-chatting or wasting time. These tools, as I said in my first slide, is to make things simple and more efficient. Is to go in there, see what's going on quickly, formulate your reply, and get out as quickly as possible. Yeah. Of course, you might have, sometimes you might have people drifting off and going off in long conversations, or you might have your occasional banter in there, but that's acceptable as long as most of the time it gets the job done. And we have found out that actually by having our conversations on this, like in chat instead of audio or video, it actually helps us like get to the point really quickly, because when you're audio and video, then you have people talking, or you might miss something and you're not going, and you forgot what the other person said 5 minutes ago. Whereas when you have your messages like this, then you don't lose focus basically. You might get carried away for 5 minutes, and then you say, oh, what did they say? And then you go back and immediately you're back in the conversation basically. So we don't encourage audio video calls. We have one video call every morning for our stand-up so that we can see each other. But for everything else, we keep it in chat. All right, cool.